Superannuation is one of the most recommended investment strategies by just about every single financial advisor, yet it's commonly misunderstood by the general public. So today in this video, we're going to be going over the retirement roadmap and we're going to be talking about all things superannuation. Hey guys, my name is Michael and I'm an accountant from Australia. On this channel, we talk all things personal finance like investing and taxes, so if that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. As a millennial, I find it really confusing why the government takes 9.5% of my pay and locks it away until I'm nearly dead. So I thought I would do some research so I can understand a little bit more about the superannuation industry. In this video, I'm going to share my research in 3 parts. Firstly is the what, so what actually is superannuation. Second, I'll share the different phases of superannuation and how it changes as you get older. And lastly, I'm going to be sharing some actionable tips that you can take today so you can feel confident and prepared for the golden years of your life. Let's get started. So first of all, what actually is superannuation? Superannuation is the cornerstone of the federal government's retirement policy. Its broad aim is to focus the responsibility of funding retirement back on the individual rather than on the state. In other words, it's trying to force individuals to save and invest so that when they retire, they can live off their super's passive income rather than relying on the government for pensions and handouts. So what does a super fund actually do? Well, basically they collect the money on your behalf, they invest on your behalf, and then they'll pay the money back to you when you're ready to retire. When you deposit or contribute to your super, you're in what is known as the accumulation phase. Rather than when you retire and are living off the passive investments from your super, this is known as the retirement phase. The first phase of the super cycle is the accumulation phase. This is what you're going to be in during your working career when you're making contributions and deposits into your super fund. All of these deposits will then be locked away until you're ready for retirement. It is also in this phase that you're going to benefit from concessional contributions and fund earnings being taxed at only 15%, which will usually be lower than any marginal tax bracket you're in. While you're in this phase, your super fund will also be investing your funds on your behalf to maximize the returns and maximize the super balance for when you actually go to retire. Which brings us to the second phase of the super cycle, which is the retirement phase. You're in this phase once you've retired and decide to commence a super income stream, also known as a pension. But don't get this confused with the age pension, which the Commonwealth government still hands out to the retired. The government has set a limit to how much can be transferred from the accumulation to the retirement phase, with that cap currently being $1.6 million. Anything in excess of this must stay in the accumulation phase and may be carried forward as a part of your estate. If you're a millennial like me, you're a lifetime away from realizing the retirement phase of your super cycle. So let's have a look at some actionable steps you can take today that will make a sizable difference in your retirement. If you've read Barefoot Investor, you know that Scott Pape, the author, recommends that you maximize your super contributions before going out and investing for yourself. But I have to disagree with Scott Pape's advice. Mandatory retirement funds such as super or 401ks in the US are actually really wise initiatives by the government, because they know that the majority of the population aren't going to build a large amount of wealth even over a lifetime of working. I believe there's a great power in pursuing financial literacy and financial independence without the need to rely on your superannuation. However, since I am an employee and my employer has to withhold the 9.5% and pay that to my superannuation fund, I might as well maximize the returns and maximize the investments. So here are 3 actionable steps that you can take today to maximize yours too. The first step you can take is to choose a super fund with low fees. Funds will often charge 2 different types of fees. The first will be an admin fee and the second an investment fee. An admin fee is usually a fixed amount that you'll pay every week or every month, while an investment fee is usually a percentage of the total of your superannuation balance. It's critical to be paying as low a fee as possible, because over a lifetime of working and overpaying for fees, your superannuation balance will suffer. Let's just take a look at a quick example. If you pay a 1.5% investment fee per year, over a lifetime of working, your superannuation balance would be $1,301,436. However, if you find a super fund just 1% cheaper and pay a 0.5% investment fee per year, over the same period, your super balance would be $1,745,082. That's almost $500,000 extra that you'll have for your retirement by just doing 15 minutes of research today. If you want to compare super funds and see how much their fees are, I'd suggest using a tool such as superguide.com.au's Compare Super Funds, or you can just do a quick Google search to find a list of low-cost super funds. Step number 2 is to consolidate your super funds. Believe it or not, superannuation funds can actually be lost and go missing, so you need to find what's yours and claim it. When you're hired for a new job, your new employer should ask you where you want your super paid into. However, if you didn't provide a specific fund and account number, your new employer will just pay your super into their default super fund. Meaning if you've worked multiple jobs, maybe as a high schooler you had a couple of different casual jobs, you may have multiple superannuation accounts. This isn't a terrible thing, but it does mean that you're paying duplicates of fees and you're losing money over time. You can check if you have multiple super accounts by logging into any super fund's website and finding their tool either called Consolidate Your Super or Find Lost Super. There you just enter your tax file number and all the little robots will go out and find if you have super that's owing to you. Then you'll get presented an option whether or not you want to consolidate your super into just one account, which I definitely recommend you do, so it's all in one place and you're only paying one lot of fees. And the final tip that I have for you today is to choose the highest growth investment option. Disclaimer, this could be volatile in the short term and maybe not suitable to you if you're that close to retirement. However, if you're under 45, you have time to ride out the waves of short-term volatility. So I definitely recommend you log into your super fund's online portal and look at the different investment options that they have. It'll usually be balanced, growth, diversified, retirement. These are the sorts of labels that they name their different portfolios. And I recommend that you choose the one with the highest growth potential, which will usually be called growth or Australian International Shares. Also, just remember that superannuation is for your retirement, so you have time to ride out the short-term market fluctuations and market dips. Bringing us to the end of the video, superannuation has been a great incentive for the government to introduce so that individuals can take retirement into their own hands and have a little bit more accountability for their retirement. Without forced savings for retirement, the majority of retirees would either be dependent on the government for their pensions or retirement on their own children. So I think it's a great thing that the government has introduced forced savings for the majority of Australians to take retirement into their own hands and take some accountability. I just outlined those 3 actionable steps that you can take today. It'll only take about half an hour to make sure that you maximize your retirement. I see superannuation as a necessary evil that the government has brought into place to make sure the majority of Australians are well off into their retirement. I also see it as a strategy that high income earners can utilize to minimize their tax in the short term and maximize their wealth in the long term. Thank you for watching, guys. If you found value in this video, please consider subscribing. I upload videos every single week on personal finance. If you have any questions or any video topic ideas that you would love me to cover, please also comment below.